Welcome back, and let's jump right back into the question that so many want to ask. Mike, how did you get the foam back into such a large cavity? Well, actually, injecting the foam with the system that we use is the easy part. The time-consuming part was constructing the replacement shear ties in a fashion where they contoured to the very slight curve of the hull side. To the naked eye, it would appear that this large area of the hull was completely flat, where in fact it wasn't. It had the slightest contour, which we had to replicate. We didn't have to go in there and just put a flat panel in place and then build it up with either additional laminations or extra fairing. We wanted to get our panel dead balls on. We wanted to get our panel perfect. So the fairing process, although there would be a lot, it starts with a surface as close to the original surrounding surfaces as possible. So how do we do that? We ran multiple string lines from two existing sections of the hull before and after the big replacement area. We then glued small foam composite pieces along each of our shear tie at the exact height of what the bottom, or should I say the inside, of our laminated panel. Even though our replacement panel is constructed of many layers of fiberglass, we engineered the lamination of the panel to be half the thickness of the hull's lamination. We needed to do a full lamination over our replacement panel to the surrounding sections of the hull. Well, what better way to hold a big panel in place? Well, you got it, vacuum bag it. After we had our indicator blocks in place, we then began foaming the voided section using our nitrogen compressed foaming system. Shortly after we completed the application of the foam, the boys came in and began to shave down the foam as so it's just above the surrounding area of the hull. They then began to longboard, sand down the entire area until they exposed those early indicator blocks that we put in place. This ensured that we were laminating the big panel in place and all the lines are consistent with the existing sections of the hull. After this was complete, it was now time to laminate our panel in place. However, we needed to complete one very important step in the lamination process of this panel, and that is sealing the foam. We needed to seal the foam so when we were vacuum bagging the panel in place, our vacuum suction wasn't leaking out through the foam, or should I say into the foam. If we didn't seal the foam, the vacuum would work its way through the foam and we would never be able to pull the inches of vacuum that's needed to hold this panel in place. To do this, the men skimmed the foam with thickened paste resin and applied 3 layers of 1-ounce mat. They let it dry and then sand grinded the surfaces in preparation for the next major step, and that is vacuum bagging the panel in place. Joe and Keith set their sealant tape and vacuum bag up around our lamination area. Since things are going to get sloppy, they covered up the sealant tape with pieces of 2-inch masking tape, stepped as though the resin cannot find its way to the sealant tape. Once you get any resin on it, it'll never stick to the vacuum bag. So this is a pretty important step in the procedure. To prep the panel itself, we drilled a series of 1/4-inch holes 2 inches on center and gave the back panel a very tight skim of our paste. These holes would fill in with resin under vac, bonding these multiple layers of laminate together. After many hours under bag, and obviously when it was fully cured, the boys again sand grinded the surfaces of our outer panel and around the panel. The final lamination we did was very similar to the vacuum bagging of our panel. The final lamination consisted of 4 layers of 1-ounce mat and 4 layers of 1708, all tapered cut, to bring the outside of our repair and the panel to one solid lamination. This left us an incredibly straight, precise lamination to begin our fairing process. The closer you get the glasswork, the easier and more efficient the fairing process will be. We like to get our repairs as close as possible in fiberglass laminate and use as little fairing compound putty as possible. Again, back to our Duratec high build primer, we want that to be our final fairing compound, which in fact it is a sprayable fairing compound. The thinner the fairing compound will yield a more precise, straight, and consistent surface. And that's exactly what Keith did. He gave the hull side a nice tight skim of 3M Vinyl Ester Premium fairing putty. He dyed the surface with our guide coat material and brought out the big boy and longboarded the hull side with a 3-foot longboard. After putting a few more skims of glazing putty, what was once a big missing section of a hull was now ready for the application of our high build primer. After one more skim and one more final longboarding and a little bit of detail sanding, this section was now ready for the final coating process. Although you've seen Scotty bounce back in and out, helping out with the panel replacement, we tried to really leave him alone as much as possible to continue to get that amazing body work done up in the bow section. No different than every step Keith did for the preparation of the final coating to the hull side repair, Scotty needed to do the same thing to the forward bow section. However, dealing with way more lines and details. You saw earlier how he made up different jigs to compare his repair to the other side of the boat to ensure everything was symmetrically the same. As he went through the process of the application of fairing putty, he would consistently check each one of these areas until he felt he had all the lines dialed in to get this thing in high build primer. He would then be able to really see the details as he went through the dyeing process, longboarding, and shaping. With high build, every little detail shows up. He'd go back and forth to get those details perfect. He then applied another application of high build primer and went through the second stage of longboarding and final sanding to absolutely ensure that things were perfect. And as you can see, it was. To keep things moving along, the whole time Scotty was doing his thing up in the bow section, Keith was going through every one of those steps on the gunnel section where we created that new deck joint. We created the deck joint exactly the same way we created the hull joint. We made up multiple parts, blasted them together, screwed them to the existing and new hull joint so they would be in the exact position that we needed them to be. Keith then joined the section at the top of the gunnel with our new deck joint by making a small mold off the radius off the other side of the boat. As discussed in the last episode, we couldn't use the opposite side to make the whole part, say like we did in that Grady White. However, he was able to make a mold of the small radius area, then fiberglass that part to the top of the gunnel and the deck joint. He then went through the fairing process, ready in that area for our final coating process and catching it up to the rest of the starboard hull. To everyone's excitement, we now had all the repairs to the starboard side of our 420 done and ready for final coating, which would be a combination of both Gelcoat and some of the most amazing painting you'll see in the industry, which all can be seen in the next episode of Making It Metan. So please join me as we take this Outrage to its final completion. And as I said, one of the most amazing all-grip paint jobs you'll see in the industry. So join us, and we'll see you next time on Making It Metan. If you like this segment, click right here. If you like this segment and you want to watch the whole episode, click right here.